He's the voiceover studio engineer of the Stars in Los Angeles, California, a Virginia Tech grad with a knowledge of recording studios unmatched in his field. He's a voice actor from Buffalo, New York, with 30 years experience in recording studios and behind the mic. He solves people's home voiceover studio problems in the blink of an eye. Together, there's no studio problem they can't solve, and they'll do it for you tonight. Welcome to East West Audio Body Shop. Now, live from a basement in Buffalo and an office in LA, here are Dan Leonard and George Whittam.
Good evening. I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we are
East-West Audio Body Shop.
Audio Body Shop?
Audio Body Shop.
Well, my wife was telling me this morning, you don't smell too good. Anyway, happy holidays, everybody, and welcome to the last show of 2011. Can you believe it? It's our 32nd show.
It's pretty remarkable that we've made it this far, but we, just once you find something that works, you just go with it and don't put too much stress on perfecting it and just have fun. And there you go. All of a sudden you hit 32 episodes and all you guys come along for the ride.
I told you this was going to happen, George. I kept telling you, oh, you're going to really like being on the air. I can see it happening.
You get used to it.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Let's see if I don't trip over my earpiece here.
Anyway, kind of getting used to this.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm glad that you're comfortable. You're doing all the technical work.
I don't have the sweaty palms anymore.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to give you a towel for that when next time I saw you. But anyway, again, happy holidays. We've got a great show for you tonight. Our special guest is our very special and good friend, Dave Courvoisier, who is a great voice actor, newscaster. We all know him as possibly one of the best bloggers in the voiceover business, telling us all about all the gadgetry stuff that he tries, that he hasn't a clue how it works.
Yeah. I love it because he's not afraid to just try it. I mean, he's not afraid to try it out, and warts and all, mistakes and all, just show it how it is. I mean, for a guy who spends for a guy whose day job it is to be a polished, flawless news anchor on camera, live, to do something like blogging and to do all that behind the scenes stuff where he's just, off the cuff. It takes a pretty special guy. I don't know how many people that could be working on both sides of the wall, so to speak, so easily like he does.
Yeah. The thing is he simply doesn't sleep. So
yeah.
I don't know where he finds the time.
It is amazing.
Yes. Anyway, we've also got some great stuff to talk about tonight and lots of interesting examples of how it's not supposed to sound. And we've got bad audio of the week later on, of course, which has a very interesting, a little technical problem, which sort of fits in the part of the conversation tonight. And you're going to talk a little bit about soundproofing, because this seems to be a recurring theme that people don't really understand the idea of soundproofing. So we'll get into that a little bit. Also talking about my experiences this week with dealing with people with XP and older software platforms and things like that. Because I know there's a lot of you out there that have those, and we want to make sure that everything is running optimum for you.
Absolutely.
So anyway, why don't we start off with the prime factor tonight? And you want to lead off with the soundproofing stuff?
Yeah, sure. So, we do talk sometimes we talk about soundproofing, sometimes we talk about acoustic treatment. Both of them, the same. Yeah, they're not the same. Both are important. But the soundproofing side, which is keeping noise from getting into the mic that you don't want, noise from outside the house, inside the room, computers, all that stuff. That is, I think, usually the most expensive stuff to fix. Soundproofing soundproofing requires very, very, very heavy duty solutions. It requires density. It requires air tightness. It requires an air gap in many cases between two surfaces. So when it comes to soundproofing, we start with the basics. But if that's not enough, then we really get out pull out the big guns, the hammer, the nails, the contractor, and that's where we start heading. So soundproofing in LA is often a major part of what I have to do with my clients. And I really don't like to go there unless somebody really, really needs it. It could mean a simple solution as to going into a closet. And if you're lucky enough to have a closet that is all interior walls, so none of the walls go to the outside, and you have an attic space or a second story above, so you don't have the roof of the house right overhead. If you have all those things in a closet, they can be pretty darn quiet inside. Then you seal off the door with some weather stripping, and voila, you have a horribly stagnant, stale air box where you have to get out and open the door every 5 minutes to breathe. But at least it's quiet in there. And then, of course, basically, you can get a whisper room, which is a similar situation with the addition of ventilation. And it does keep out a good bit of noise. Where all of these solutions fall flat, though, is with low-frequency noise. It's that rumbling, that humming, that stuff that comes through the walls, the doors. No matter what you do, no matter how airtight the space is, you still get these low-frequency noises. The sound of a truck, the sound of a Harley, dump truck, helicopters, really bad. In LA, we certainly deal with them often enough. So that's where it gets really challenging. And you have to deal with that kind of stuff, you have to start doing with double wall construction. You have to have a wall that goes to the outside world, a wall that goes to the inside world, and you're basically creating two spaces, a room within a room, so to speak. And everything has to be decoupled, the floor, the ceiling, everything. And
so we're talking a major construction project here if you've got lots and lots of problems.
Yeah, and I only recommend this for those who are working on schedule. If you're working directed, so to speak. So we all have schedules, but I mean, if you have directed sessions where you have to be on at 2 and 3 and 4, or you have to be on in 10 minutes, that kind of work, then you just have to have space quiet enough to do it. You just have to. There's no working around it. You can't work at night or off hours. You can't wait till the dog stops barking. The client on the other end is not going to tolerate that. Right. So for most of us, that's probably not as much of a problem. We can probably work around it. But once you get to a certain degree of, workload, those interruptions start really detracting from your production time, especially if you're doing book narration and you need
book
hours.
I would think book narration is really where it becomes a real factor.
Yeah.
Because what you're dealing with there is long format, and you have to stop. And if you're doing 30-second reads, and it's like, well, it's not going to take up that much time.
Yeah.
But if you're doing long format stuff or corporate stuff, presentations and things like that, that's when it can become a problem. If you're doing it on your own, there's always patience. As I always say, you could spend $5,000 for a whisper room, or you could wait till your neighbor stops blowing his leaves. Right. Or turns his Harley off or something along those lines.
Right.
But it trying to soundproof is virtually impossible.
Yeah.
At least in my experience.
Let's talk about what that means. Soundproof.
Right.
There's soundproof. There's degrees of soundproofedness. The better term to use is isolation. So we're trying to achieve as much isolation as is possible. But completely soundproof is only achievable by under a government contract. You need to be able to build something called an anechoic chamber, and it usually involves 3-foot thick concrete walls
and Wolf Mountain.
Yeah, you have to be remote, and it has to be incredibly huge. So obviously that's not realistic for anybody. Then you've got the professional commercial recording studio, that $1 million plus facility that you go into, you shut all the doors, and it's almost eerily quiet. It is actually eerily quiet. I mean, you can hear the blood flowing through your veins. It's so quiet. And you know that sound when it's so quiet, you actually sort of hear the whooshing of the blood in your ear canal. I mean, that's really creepy, but that's how quiet those spaces are. Okay, we're probably not going to get that quiet. That's probably 70 dB or better of noise floor. So
the real goal here is what? We're thinking like minus 50.
I think if you can get 50 to 60, that's awesome. I think that's really good. 55 to 60 is fantastic. 60 to 70 is exceptional for a home studio. Anything better than 70, you obviously live somewhere very remote, because there's just nothing ambient, and you don't have any ventilation system or anything in your house running. So you're in a cabin with no electricity.
Right, so Ted Kaczynski would have had no problems at all.
Right, exactly.
Except when those loud explosions happen.
Yeah. But noises happen in all different frequency bands, right? So the stuff that occurs in the range of your voice is the biggest problem. You can't filter it out. You can't remove it. The stuff that creeps in at the bottom end of the frequency band, the bass, the low frequency subwoofer level stuff, that you can deal with oftentimes without having to spend so much money. If the problem that you're dealing with is just that kind of thing, oftentimes you can filter a lot of that out with EQ. If it's just a low frequency rumble, like, okay, you record something and you look at that waveform, and every time you stop talking, there's sort of a jaggedy line between the words. Don't freak out too much, because sometimes that's infrasonic stuff. That stuff's so low.
Infrasonic?
Yeah.
That's not a word I've heard before.
Well, you've heard infrared light, right?
Yes, I have.
So infrared is below the visual spectrum. Ultraviolet is above the visual spectrum. Well, infrared, ultrasound is above, infrasound or infrasonics is below. So if you can't hear it, the microphone often can. If you're using a nice quality studio mic with one of those large diaphragm, your typical, one of these guys, this mic is going to pick up stuff that you don't really hear. It's going to pick up stuff below the range of your hearing, and it will get reproduced quite nicely by the mic and your computer and the software, and you'll see this jaggedy line, this big waveform. Well, you'd be amazed at how much that can be reduced just by putting a high-pass filter in the recording, either in the software after you've recorded, or if you have a preamp with a high-pass filter button, or if it's a switch on the mic, in which case this particular mic actually has a switch. I don't think you'll be able to see it on camera, but it does actually have a little...
That's the 3035. Yeah, it's got a 10 dB pad on it.
It's got a pad, and it's got a high-pass filter switch, right, which has a little slopey line. It's showing not flat, but with a slope. That's the high-pass filter switch. And for many of us, putting that switch on can really help. Sometimes it's too much of a good thing, and it can start to thin out the bottom end of your voice, especially for men's voices. That can occasionally be a problem. But I find that's only an issue in a big open room where there's not much low-frequency information resonating. But those that are in a booth or a closet or a whisper room, there's usually way too much of that anyway.
Sound like you're in a booth.
Yeah. It has a sound. It's a booth box sound. If you engage the high-pass filter, it will actually counteract the resonance in the room as well as low-frequency junk getting in the room. So I, as a rule, pretty much always set up a high-pass filter on everything. I mean, it's just part of the EQ. And even if someone has perfect sound, I'll always have that slope starting around 80 hertz, sometimes 75. Because that just takes everything out.
Nobody's voice is at 80 hertz.
No. There might be some residual resonance, some junk down there, but pretty much there's not much in existence on almost any normal person's voice down there. So, that's why you don't really have to deal too much with that low frequency stuff so much. Hey there.
Whoa.
It's getting crowded in there.
Wow. It's like the stateroom scene from Monkey Business here. Okay. All right, everybody lean in.
There's Ari.
Oh, there's Ari. There we go. The Leonard family, which is...
Lewis.
Jacob, put your head down a little lower there.
There you go.
Okay. And my wonderful, lovely wife, Marcy.
Hi, Marcy.
There she is. That are in there. Okay, this one anyway. You get confused with it. Anyway, everybody... Happy holidays, happy Hanukkah.
Family in Buffalo.
Well, yeah, really, and Ari and Tinky and
Conrad's here somewhere.
and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Happy Hanukkah.
Okay, all of you out of here.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, viewers.
Don't you wish you could just do all your sessions like that with your whole family and your animals around you the whole time?
They usually are. Usually it's the bird. It's sitting,
Yeah.
he wants to keep
bird.
coming in here
Yeah.
and sitting on my shoulder.
Well, that actually makes me think of another thing. So, like the soundproofing, and I'll wrap it up after this. Actually, there was one or two questions or comments that came up in the chat room too. FM Bomb Frank says, "Is there such a thing as too dead?"
Too dead.
Well, when I talk about dead, that's more of an acoustical thing, right? Echo, reverberation, that's dead. And just to answer your question, I don't really think so. I mean, not that you can achieve in a home studio. There's no such thing as too dead, I don't think. An anechoic chamber, which has zero acoustical properties, won't reflect anything, is too dead. If you were ever in one of those, when you talk, the sound of your voice just literally just leaves your mouth and disappears into the room. It's almost like put your fingers in your ears and talk. And what's left is just the sound of your voice resonating inside your skull and just transmitting through the bones in your head. That's what it sounds like in a room that's too dead, an anechoic chamber or something. But you're not going to achieve that in a home studio. So don't worry about a home studio being too dead. In the voiceover world, the engineers are very happy when the sound is that dead. They really want to add the acoustics back in.
Yeah, they can. That's the thing, is that they can add a little bit of reverb and change the size of the room with just a twist of a little dial and stuff like that. So if it's too dead, it's really not that much of an issue.
Yeah, exactly. But bird sounds are usually a problem if a room is airtight or sealed well. So higher frequency sounds like birds are going to squeeze through small openings. So if you have if you have a window that's if you have a window with a bad seal, or if you can see light through a door jamb or any of that kind, that's where higher frequency sounds can sneak through because they're a shorter wavelength. So short wavelengths can fit through little openings. So the higher frequency stuff's dealt with usually with proper sealing, and the low frequencies dealt with heavy walls and air gaps. So that's kind of what you're going for. And if you're ever wondering what it is that, am I there yet? Or is it enough? Send one of us a file. We'll take a listen.
We'll give it a listen.
And the bad audio of the week.
We actually got a great file for that one.
Yeah, we have a good one we're going to play later that kind of demonstrates, some of the issues and how much, and when it's not enough regards to soundproofing.
Well, anyway, the hour is creeping on here.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Dave Courvoisier coming up in just a little bit, and we want to talk a little bit about XP and stuff like that. So we'll be back right after this message, and my family was going to come in here, but they have to go to bed and stuff. We'll be right back after this.
El Dorado Recording Services.
Randy Thomas chiming in.
This is Alex Verdi.
Hi, this is Bill Ratner in Los Angeles.
Hi, this is Scott Rummel here in Yorba Linda, California.
Hi, my name is Rick Wasserman.
Hi, this is Tom Kane.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Marshall.
Hi, my name is Zurich.
Hi, I'm Mary McKittrick.
Hi, I'm Peter McHugh.
I was turned on to George by none other than Don LaFontaine, who always swore by his health.
George is absolutely awesome.
ISDN, Source Connect, Phone Patch, FTP, you name it, George has set it up.
It's really the best thing I've ever done for myself. I feel free, safe, fearless, like anything is possible in here.
Unless you like to look for opportunities to waste time, call George.
And he did all of that, long distance over the phone and the internet.
I'm very happy with George, and I cherish
I've got my travel kit, I got my Source Connect, I've got it all going on, thanks to you.
Thanks, George. You make it easy.
This is East West Audio Body Shop with Dan Leonard in the East and George Whittam in the West. Now back to two characters that didn't have anything else better to do, Dan and George.
And we're back here on East West Audio Body Shop. Welcome back on this festive holiday week here. Of course, I wanted to talk about my trip to the Dominican Republic, but we'll save that for another time. As soon as I feel better from that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think we need some space between that trip and the storytelling.
Oh, yes. And then the trip next week when I'm in Southern California and you're in Philadelphia. We're like switching coasts.
I know.
It's going to be very interesting. Anyway, let's not go all the way to the West Coast. Let's find ourselves in the future beachfront property of Las Vegas.
Right. They're just waiting there, rubbing their hands together.
That's right.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys.
Dave Courvoisier.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Dave.
Great,
Thanks. Yeah,
great to be here.
We're glad you can join us. You came on by popular demand. We asked everybody who is one of your favorite guests. Yeah, who's one of your favorite guests of the year, and your name seemed to come up more than anybody. So we're so glad to get to it.
I got somebody buffaloed then, or Buffalo. Who said Buffalo?
Buffalo.
I was listening with great interest about your Anaconda studio booth. What was that word again?
The anechoic chamber.
Anechoic chamber.
Anechoic. Yes. So if you think of echo, and then the Latin, what is it? Is it Latin when something is an is the opposite?
Right.
So the opposite of echo is an echo or anechoic. Voila.
Actually, earlier you were describing my studio. I have a second floor. No walls that meet the outside. It has a little bit of attic space. There's nothing underneath it but a hallway. It's perfect. I didn't even try or think about that when I started it, but I realized later how lucky I got.
Yeah, that is ideal. That is ideal. I mean, if you have a second story and you don't have a lot of footfall traffic, which is like, noise from the people walking down the hall outside the closet, getting into the booth, then that is ideal.
I just lucked out.
Yeah, I just kick him out of the house, so I don't worry about those kinds of things.
You guys want to have the heat on for the rest of the
family,
winter?
By the way, Dan, nice to see your family, the dogs too, and that's nice.
The bird didn't make it in there for some. Well, he probably was, but Jacob wasn't pushing himself low enough. Yeah, it's quite a zoo around here. Anyway, what you been up to there, bud? Out there in Vegas, been blogging away. We see it every day.
Life is good. I'm blessed and I am busy. I've got I'll have all three of my daughters home for Christmas. One of them's here now from college, and the other one's coming in from St. Louis about a week or so, and that's always great to have the whole family there. But doing the usual thing, I anchor 3 newscasts a day. But my real passion and my love these days has been voiceover, blogging. I've been really busy lately. I've heard some other people on social media say that they've kind of seen a drop off in jobs. For some reason, I got gangbusters in December. So I finished up a 6.5-hour narration last night. I did about 3 hours all day yesterday narrating this e-learning project. And then I had a couple of spots today. So not to brag, but I'm blessed. I really am busy and it's all good. And one of these days it's going to get so busy, I'm going to say, I don't need TV anymore.
That was my next question. Yeah. Do you think that would happen? You look forward to that day coming?
I do, but here's the thing. Number one, my wife would freak out because we'd lose health insurance and all those nice little benefits, the 401k matching and all that. That's very nice, and I can't knock that gift horse in the mouth. But I'm just saying that creatively, I'm kind of done with the news thing, and it's been very good to me and all that. I've learned many lessons, but this is where I'm heading, and I do look forward to that day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you certainly deserve it. You've been working your tuchus off at this for so long. I think it's about time that you're starting to come into your own with this. Now, you've been blogging a lot lately, and you've been messing around with gadgets that you don't understand. I don't even understand. I mean, I have basic understanding of how they work, but you just have to try them.
I do. Here's the latest one. I'm sure you saw the blog about it. I sat right here in this little studio and did the video for this. This is the Tascam IM2. Don't you love the names they give these things?
Rolls off the tongue.
But this and Bo Weaver did an excellent, detailed, in-depth review of this little guy. He's a little bit better on all the real technical standards that go into these things, and he gave it a cautious thumbs up. Certainly, probably better than anything else that's out there on the market right now. And that's when you're looking for a shareable, usable, sendable audio track that you're not embarrassed to give to a client or to even send to an audition, and it can be done on your iPad or your iPhone. That's pretty cool. Now, one of the things I made sure I mentioned in my blog was that you can have a $3,000 mic and it ain't going to do you any good if your recording environment sucks. So, if you're planning on recording at the Target men's room, it ain't going to work. But but if you can find the right space, it's a pretty neat little gizmo. $80.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. They're getting there. They're getting there.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call it remarkable, but I would call it functional. It's getting to the point where, with the right conditions, you can get something usable in a pinch. And of course, holding it in the right position and holding extremely still is all part of the process. But it's converting the microphone straight to digital before it goes into your iPhone. That's what I understand why it makes it actually usable, right?
Yeah. And as Bo pointed out, the important thing is that it goes in the 30-pin connector in the bottom of the iPad or iPhone, not like the other Tascam thing, which I've got, which is pretty neat. It takes any kind of XLR microphone, but there's the connector. It goes into your headphone jack, which is not nearly the same fidelity of recording.
Yeah,
that's analog.
Yeah, I mean, I tested it with an iPod and got remarkably decent results. But on the iPhone, because of the filtering that's on the input for the mic for telephone call purposes, it just chops all the bottom and the top off, and it sounds pretty bad. So yeah, you need that 30-pin connector.
Blue Microphones made the Blue Mikey for the iPhone 3G, and I had that work great. But then they changed the circuitry when they came out with the iPhone 4, and so all of a sudden now you gotta buy new. And the lesson here is that Apple is very proprietary with their product, and they don't like third-party actors coming in with any kind of peripherals at all. So,
which is weird to me when it's would be one thing if they offered a better alternative. We'd all be buying it, right? But when they don't even make the hardware in the first place, that's what bugs the heck out of me. So, and we're all waiting for we're all waiting for an Android device that you could record to, right?
Yes, and I do have an Android tablet, and you're right. There's no fancy dancy input for a microphone for that. You pretty much you have to use the ambient microphone. So it hasn't quite reached that level of Apple with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're all looking for the Holy Grail, and as I keep saying, why is everybody so obsessed with getting these mobile devices and things to work? We don't really need them, and if you have them, the only place it's going to work is if you're in a car, and you're off the road out in the middle of the desert, which is easier for you than for me. But you can't recreate. You can only do it for one-shot auditions. You cannot recreate your studio sound with one of these mobile devices unless
you're right. I don't know why we're so obsessed with it. I'm certainly one of them, but I think it's just because there's new technology. I'm a geek. I love new stuff. I like to try it out. I like to do it just because I can and to prove that it can be done. But you're right. I've got the Zoom H4n, which is a much better portable recorder for out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the H4n is very flexible. You can plug real mics into it too.
Yeah. You can use it as a USB external mic. You can use it on its own as a recorder, and then just import and records in WAV, MP3. It's great.
Yeah. So what other things you've been blogging about lately? I mean, you're covering lots of things.
I'm kind of looking now towards the new year, and I'm kind of a social media guy too, and I'm really seeing so much change, and everything's exploding in that area as well, and I'm really, it's hard to keep a handle on that. Not that you should even try, because it's just impossible. But I call myself a student of social media because I don't think there are any experts out there, because it changes so fast. Now, this last week, Facebook has finally made the timeline feature available to everybody. And that's something you really should check out, because whether you like it or not, or know it or not, Facebook has already created your timeline page and put in there everything that you've ever had on Facebook from day one. And if there are pictures or things that you posted that you don't want there, you better go visit your timeline page and delete them.
Let me take care of that right there. It's pretty bad.
Now, how the granularity of it, right, where you can tell it what should be and what shouldn't be in there. Pictures that you shared with only a certain group of your friends. Like I have a professional list in Facebook. So everybody that I've never met before that wants to be a friend, because through our big network of voice acting, I will put them as a professional. Now, when I put them as a professional, that means if I post a picture in a personal photo album that's for my family and friends only, the photo album is set to not show up in the professional list. Right. So does the timeline obey that? So if you're a professional and you view my timeline, do you see those pictures anyway? That'd be my question.
I wish I had an answer, George.
Boy, that's a good one, isn't it?
I just yesterday started playing with it myself, and there are configurations and settings for the timeline that you should explore. I haven't done it completely yet. I really don't have an answer for you. I'm hoping that you're right. I'm hoping that that's the case, because I would hate to see that everything I ever posted, whether it was professional or personal or private, is there on my timeline.
Yeah, exactly. I think a few people definitely had some knee-jerk reactions to this new timeline thing coming out, and at the bottom, I mean, there's certain things we don't want everybody to see. The rule to me is if you put it on a social network that's owned by some other company that makes money on advertising, it's fair. It's fair game. It's fair game.
It's gone.
So if you don't want it to
anything you post on the internet, period, even an email can be cannibalized. I mean, anything you put on the internet, really, in any form, just kiss it goodbye. You lose control of it. Yeah, don't assume emails are totally private. They never assume that, especially if you use something like Gmail, which I happen to use. It's your material is scoured by bots that search for keywords, things like that, and figure out how to better advertise to. While it may be anonymous, technically, it's still not entirely private. So something. And look at like Scarlett Johansson, the lesson with her smartphone. Hackers are really paying attention to smartphones right now, especially because hers. People are using them, and let's face it, it makes phone calls too, but we use it as a computer, and that's what they're hacking into. I would suggest go out today and get an app that protects your smartphone, because there are many out there, and they do a good job because the hackers are paying attention.
Yeah. The answer is actually very simple. You use a landline.
And you put on a tinfoil hat.
Nobody can hack into that except your wife if she happens to pick up the other line.
Put your tinfoil hat on and get down in the basement. And,
that's right.
Or like we used to have the party line system when I was a kid growing up in Illinois, and you'd get on the phone and you'd have to see if grandma down the road was talking to her best friend, and they'd talk about their liver problems or whatever, and you'd have to I'd like to use the line, please.
Well, there's a lot of kids out there have no idea what on earth you're
dating
talking
yourself,
about.
buddy.
I remember that though.
I've got there are producers in my newsroom who don't even know who Mick Jagger is. That's how old I.
That's getting a little on the inside there.
All right. Whatever.
All right. Well, Dave, it's always a pleasure to have you on.
My friends, you have really broken some ground with this particular format of presentation of a show, and I want to let you know I'm watching closely. I hope next year to launch something similar to this in the social media spectrum for voiceover people. So that's all I'm going to say right now. But you guys have really done it, and my hat goes off to you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Dave.
Our pleasure.
Everybody
definitely wants to be competition.
We definitely expect to see more shows. I mean, we've already seen another one be announced, and more power. As long as it's something new and fresh, keep it fresh, cover new topics, keep it interesting. We'll keep doing what we're doing. We'll do what we can to keep it fresh. We'll come up with new topics, some new formats, things like that. But man, this is a whole new kind of frontier. So
and this is the promise of the internet. This is what I'm talking about. Things are changing so fast. You got to pedal fast to keep up. But thanks for having me, guys, and best of luck. Good to see you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, David.
Thanks, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Now Dan's going to figure out how to hang up on Dave.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I know how to do it. I just go like that.
Yay!
And he's gone.
And I'll recrop the shot so that Dave his picture of Dave isn't there anymore.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And now you expand.
Oh, and then it changed again.
Oh, come on.
Skype is like a moving target. Here we go.
Yeah, all right, moving on.
There we go. Voila.
Okay. All right. Well, we got more to talk about. We moved the segments around. We had the guest on first because Dave probably had to go to a cocktail party or something.
Yeah.
Or cover a fire or whatever it is that he
Sure.
does. But we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. We'll talk a little bit about some aging software. And then we've got Bad Audio of the Week coming up just a little bit later on. So we'll be right back.
This is East West Audio Body Shop with Dan Leonard in the East and George Whittam in the West. Two guys I love spending Sunday nights with.
Thank you so much.
Go for it.
Always a pleasure to have her on.
Oh, yes.
Week. Yes, it was nice of her to cut that for us.
Elizabeth.
Anyway, we're back, and lots more to talk about here on East West Audio Body Shop this week. I know I'm not going to get into. A lot of you heard the story about the Dominican Republic, and this little guy named Jose who's still living somewhere inside me. Don't drink the water. See, that's the funny thing. We're in this beautiful hotel, and there's this sign on the mirror. It says, it's a glass of water with a circle and a line through it, and it says, don't drink agua here. And what's next to the sink?
Two glasses. Yes, 2 glasses.
Not that I didn't drink it, but something. Everybody on our trip got something, so I'm still feeling a little funky from that. And that was a week ago.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, so don't drink the water. Anyway,
don't eat the lettuce. Don't get ice in your
That's
in your
what it
soda.
was. It was the lettuce.
They always say don't eat the lettuce and don't get ice in your drink.
Yeah, well, I saw them using filters on the drink, so I
That's
figured
good.
the ice was safe.
Yeah,
but the lettuce, you never know.
Yeah.
Apparently, everybody was getting sick. Apparently, the entire staff was sick, and of course, those of us that were there happened to catch it. And what movie? And I'm feeling like crap on the way back. What movie are they showing on the plane? Contagion.
Oh God! The only thing worse would be like showing Airplane on the airplane.
Oh, yes.
There's certain movies that will always be blacklisted, such as Airplane.
Some crash positions.
Right. What's the one with Tom Hanks, Desert on a Desert Island?
Oh, Castaway.
Castaway. They'll never show that on an airplane.
I'll never see that
Oh,
one.
heck no. Jeez. Die Hard 2? Nope, never show that on an airplane.
No, never.
I remember seeing that movie literally the day before flying to Germany with a friend of mine. We go to see Die Hard 2, and that's the one where they screw with the air traffic control and the altitudes of the airplane. So the planes think they're 200 feet higher than they really are, and they come smashing into the ground. Like, oh, we're flying tomorrow. Bad choice.
Yeah.
Bad choice.
Anyway, I had an interesting call this week from somebody, a fairly prominent voice actor whose name will remain nameless. He says, don't use my name, but you can use the audio.
Cool.
And his audio was breaking up really, really bad. And I'm like, well, what are you running? And he says, I'm running Goldwave.
Mm-hmm.
And you're running this with Windows 7? He goes, no, with XP.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like,
sure.
Okay. Well, and I'm trying to figure, is it the latest version of Goldwave? For those of you who are unfamiliar with Goldwave, it's sort of just a step below Pro Tools. It does a lot of stuff. It's got lots of colorful graphics. It's PC, unfortunately.
Right.
And he said, I've been using it for like 5 years, and suddenly I'm having trouble.
Right.
I'm thinking, is it at the interface? Is it that? And he says, I'm using XP, and I'm starting to think maybe the support for this product no longer works with XP so well, or it's a driver issue or something. We haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'm guessing it's XP. Is it time for people to move on from XP and step up to Windows 7 or Service Pack 8 or whatever they've come up with? Or they haven't had a Service Pack yet, have they?
For Windows 7, I think they're on Service Pack 1. Someone can correct me on that one. But Service Packs are sort of like the Windows equivalent of in the Mac world, where you go from version 7, 11 point, what are we on right now? 10.7.2. So like that 0.2 is sort of like a Service Pack. There just tends to be a lot more of them in Mac OS. They seem to update it more often.
But it's seamless most of the time.
It's most of the time it's pretty seamless. But okay, so there's two arguments or two tacks. One is a time to leave Windows completely, and you guys kind of know what our opinion on that is. We feel pretty strongly about kind of leaving Windows behind completely. But if you're stubborn, or you really love that Goldwave or SAW or something that's just really hardwired into Windows, that's just never going to be on a Mac. I have mixed feelings about the Windows 7 thing. I have several people using Windows 7 for the
trouble.
Well, for the Don LaFontaine VoiceOver Lab, I installed it on a Mac Mini. And we have a dual boot setup. So we wanted so that people coming in that were more familiar with Windows could use a Windows application. We have SoundForge on there. But the problem we were having is the input sensitivity in the Windows sound control panel is completely bonkers. Like you have to have it at like 15, maybe 10 or 15%, 10 out of 100 to get proper levels into the software. Anything higher and the levels are completely pegged, completely clipped. And, I haven't spent hours on this, but I have spent quite a bit of time here and there Googling this and searching on forums, trying to find someone that says, oh, here's the fix. I haven't found one yet. Nobody's found a fix that I know of.
Usually when you're troubleshooting in Windows, and I've not worked in the Windows environment in some time. I went to Mac in 2004, I think.
A couple years before me.
Yeah. And, I'm, but it was, I still know how to work through the menus and stuff like that. I mean, I still have a PC. My younger son is a PC and thinks I'm silly for being on a Mac.
It's because he's a gamer.
He is a gamer. That is true. He doesn't really do a lot of gaming on his PC. He does that on a Sony PlayStation, but he's doing it simultaneously with somebody on Skype. And
I see. Yeah.
So but he's also recording stuff, and he uses Premiere and those sorts of things. So he's in a PC environment, and there is a place for a PC environment. And of course, we don't want to get into the argument about PC versus Mac. The question right now is, and I think this is the way I wanted to post this, was when is software too old? And not necessarily am I talking about XP.
That's a good question.
When is it time to upgrade your software either to something else? When do you know your software is no longer serving you? Well, in this particular case, do you have that clip there?
The one you sent me that had the distortion and the crackling and stuff? Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
You can get an idea of what happens.
I had the other bad audio that we queued up, but
well, no, we'll use the other one as the bad audio week because that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
because it fits back in when we were talking about soundproofing and stuff.
Let me see if give me like 30 seconds.
Okay,
preface this a little bit, and I'll find it.
I'll just vamp until then.
Okay.
When is the time to do that? Well, when you start to see breakdowns, if it crashes on you a lot, and then you've got to start looking at your RAM and things along those lines. There's lots of different clues that'll show you that perhaps it's time to upgrade. Usually a little window will come on when you turn the software on in the first place. It says, it's time to upgrade. Call the mothership. That'll be another $500 or something along that.
Yeah, right.
It's like that little light in your car when you have to do an oil change. It's like the pre-programmed profit center. Although a lot of good software companies give you free upgrades.
The pre-programmed profit center? Is that what you call it?
I guess.
That's awesome.
Pre-programmed profit center.
That's awesome.
Every time that light goes on, there's $500 on the Sienna.
Exactly.
I could get this oil to last another 200 miles.
There's a fix for that. It's called electrical tape. You tape over the light. You never have to get your car fixed again. I picked that one up from Car Talk.
Yes, as you also see a plume of smoke coming out the back of your car.
I think I found the sample here.
Okay, good.
Let me give this a shot here and see what we think.
Here I am. I'm recording. Let's hope we can find it when we're done recording. That would be nice.
Yeah, I think we heard it.
Yeah, I looked at this thing on a spectrogram and on the waveform, and it's like, these huge dropouts, and they're long. So definitely a problem there. Is it necessarily the software? Generally, if you go to another piece of software, I said, well, why don't you download Audacity and see what happens?
That's a cheap fix. That's a cheap test. I don't know if it's a fix, but at least you can figure out who's the culprit. Is it software? Is it a driver, which is sort of the go-between your audio interface and the computer? Or is it the interface going bad? And, if you only have one computer and you only have one of everything, it really makes it hard to troubleshoot stuff, because the first thing we do when we troubleshoot is we change out things one at a time. Not three at a time, but one at a time. You got to figure out, what is that one thing I just did that actually fixed the problem?
Or what broke it?
Yeah, what broke it in the first place?
What did I change? What setting is different? I find now, and I think this is where I wanted to lead with this, is a lot of people who are very set in their ways about what software they've been using for a few years. I mean, I have my favorites. I was using Sound Booth for a good 4 years, and then Audition came along, and I still use that. But I also use Twisted Wave because of its simplicity. And the simplicity is really the thing that I think people need to understand. They have simplified some of these programs. They all sound the same. If you record your voice, the proper modulation in the right acoustical situation, you're going to sound fine no matter what you're recording on. Even that little Zoom thing that Dave was talking about. And that's the most important thing. You want ease of use. All of this other stuff, all of these different things that these things can do, for the most part, aren't really relevant to what we do. And it might be a good time to look at something that's a little simpler, even though it's just as powerful.
Right. Yeah, the software is just a tool. If the software starts to get in the way of what you do, that's where it's time to move on. And that's why my argument for the Mac tends to come up so often, because I feel like the Mac gets in the way, in general, it gets in the way less often than the Windows environments get in the way. Maybe that's the best way to quantify the two. I mean, you can produce professional material in both, but I think the Mac environment, whether you want to think of it as the hardware or the operating system, it gets in the way a lot less often than the Windows stuff. That's probably the best way to think of it for me. But I do still often recommend people maintain, if they're using XP, maintain it. And if you haven't reinstalled your operating system and done the classic format C:, and wiped your hard drive and done a fresh installation in the last 3 or 4 or 8 years, consider that. It's basically like buying a new computer. No, it's not going to have a faster CPU all of a sudden. It's not going to have more memory, but it'll do some amazing things to make your machine run faster when you've flushed everything out of there. I used to do this every year almost, because I just am addicted to software. So I was always installing way too much crap, and it started to run really poorly. So I did this almost every year, and it was amazing. It always blew my mind. I was like, wow, this thing boots up like 4 times faster now, and it just does everything so much better. So if you really,
I did that just this morning. Is I finally, my trash bin in my Mac has been accumulating, and I keep trying to empty the trash. It's immediately trashing things, but if I try to get rid of lots of files, it won't delete them all. So I finally got a program this morning. It's like, securely delete, and it was 30 gigs.
Whoa, that's a big
remember,
trash
I was talking
bin.
about a few swirling beach balls there.
Yeah,
that's all gone away.
So when you emptied your trash, did the beach balls smooth out, or you got less beach balls?
Yeah, I still get them, but
right.
But the thing is, in a Mac environment, it's usually pretty easy to troubleshoot things, and it's usually self-correcting. With a PC, it could be all over the place.
Yeah,
but
there's
those
so
of you
many
who are
more
dedicated
variables
to your PCs, I mean, we're here to help you with those too.
Yeah, there's just so many more variables.
Yes.
Anywho,
well, we've got to move on here a little bit in our discussions, and you still have time. You still have time if you want to if one of your voiceover buddies, you want to get him something, or you want to get yourself something inexpensively. Our good friend Harlan Hogan over at Voiceover Essentials I think he's offering free shipping this week or something along those lines.
I'm pretty sure he's got a pretty good special going on. Let me get his page up on the screen so we can look through the website together and find some bargains.
That's right, but put it over on your side so they can see me.
Oh, sorry, man, it doesn't work that way.
Oh,
I wish I could do that, but I can't. Let me put
okay. Anyway,
I'm going to put it full screen.
I'll just talk here and
it's full screen. You're behind the scenes.
Okay, that's
your voiceover tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, go over to voiceoveressentials.com and
do the announcer.
Yeah, I mean, there's the first off, the light. You got to have the light. I mean, the voiceover is going on. I have my little switching thing here, and if Jacob's making noise, I just start flashing the light, and he knows to shut up. And and that's a cool thing. And he's had those made personally for us. So you might want to order $84.99, and it's got this great little red light in it. What's some of the other stuff he's got on special?
Well, let's see. Let's go to the homepage here.
He seems to have expanded his entire array of wares there.
Well, you know what? He's always keeping things. He's always keeping things fresh, and I love that.
He's going to get sued over these Coca-Cola pictures eventually. But
oh yeah, he loves taking images and then retouching or photoshopping them and creating new. Yeah, that's a good one. That is great. Yeah, he's clever.
It's a Norman Rockwell Santa Claus.
Exactly. He's put his microphone in more different hands and more positions. I love it.
Those are his two premier products there, the Harlan Hogan VO1A, which we do recommend. It's a great microphone.
Absolutely.
Especially at that price point.
Absolutely. It really does a fine job. I mean, there's probably cheaper mics out there. There's certainly more expensive mics out there, but it fits a certain sweet spot that works beautifully. And here to help me talk about it, actually, is my wife and daughter, Ella. So you guys come on in, have a seat. And as soon as we're done our live, we're talking about voiceoveressentials.com right now.
That's right.
So as soon as we've done that, we'll put you guys
finish
on.
up with that. Voiceoveressentials.com. Then we got to talk about something else.
Right.
Voiceoveressentials.com. Still got a little time to get that special something. Or I bet you he'll run a special after Christmas, too. Anyway. So thank you, Harlan. Thank you for all your help for here on East West Audio Body Shop. We'll have them on again real soon. And thank you to voiceoveressentials.com. Okay, now you can go over there.
Thank you, Harlan. Thank you. So yeah, my wife and daughter just popped into the booth. Not quite as organized as yours was, but what are you going to do? Let me.
I choreographed that.
Yeah, you did that very nicely. I just told mine just to show up around 7:00 and we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay.
So I've got a daughter here. Let me bring the mic down. Now don't touch it, sweetie. We'll just turn it up and they'll be able to hear you.
Kid on the West Coast.
She's going to be upset that she doesn't have headphones on. Oh, mommy's got the headphones.
Okay.
All right, put them on. All right, let me see if I can get a shot where we can see everybody.
I'm just staring at myself here, so there we go.
There we go.
Yay.
Now let me plug the headphones in. She will only, the coaches
Amy,
always
get
say.
the camera.
The coaches on, yeah, Amy, get behind Ella there.
If you can.
And squat down. There we go. That's the rule. We're all going to be on camera here. Come on. When I said all of it, come on. Come on, Mom. Come on.
Come on, Mom.
Here, get on. Here we go.
You're not going anywhere. You're still there.
She gets upset when Mommy sits in the chair too, because it's her chair. Ella, that chair doesn't say Ella. It doesn't say Ella Whittam on the back. It actually says.
That's my chair.
Okay.
Yeah, fun times. Anyway,
that's my chair. Can we share? No, that's my chair.
Oh, come on! It's Christmas.
Yeah, we're all sharing chairs. Future voiceover diva, everybody. Ella Whittam. She only works with headphones on, by the way. She gets really ticked off if she doesn't have her headphones. And Ella, do you need your mug?
Yes.
Okay. She always wants to have a mug of water to drink. And I'm training her to be a voiceover actor, by the way. And I'm serious about that. I think these headphones couldn't be more screwed up. Here. How's that? Does that work?
Yes.
The mug's right in the middle of your head. There we go.
Does she have something to say to us?
Ella, what do you have to say to...
It's good to see her dressed, by the way, too.
Yeah. Well, Ella, what do you have to say to the audience about... You want to say happy holidays to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Say happy holidays. She can't stop drinking that water.
She's drinking the eggnog there.
Here, go ahead. Say happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Oh, come on. You got better diction than that. Try it again. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Okay, not the best performance to date, but did you guys hear the sample I put up of her on my Facebook wall? I edited together a phrase, like a whole holiday greeting, and I thought it was pretty darn hilarious, actually. It was like totally Peanuts style.
Merry Christmas.
Say Merry Christmas, Ella.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
There we go.
There we go. Let me see if I can find it. It's only 20 seconds long. It's on my wall here. I promise it'll be short and sweet here. Once I scroll through all the junk in my inbox. Wow, it's not even on my wall. Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. This is Ella's first demo, as Bo Weaver put it in. Here, see if this will work.
Hello from the Rhythms. We had a very great year. We are excited about the year 2012. I wish I could vote and be presidential election. Have a wonderful holiday. Happy New Year. Allah sign off.
There you go.
Yay!
That was like Peanut style, where I fed her all the lines one by one, and then I edited it all back together painstakingly until it made sense.
Yes, it sounded like automated audio there.
I know.
Like, five. You welcome, Mr. Ella, you're gonna be a star, kiddo.
And the fairy right
Ella.
here.
Yeah, she's repeating the lines right now.
Okay.
Ella.
Alrighty, we're gonna move on.
We're gonna sign off here pretty soon, but first we gotta do bad audio of the week, right?
That's right. And
all
it's truly bad.
Okay.
No, great voice actor. It's just an interesting. You got to hear the last piece of this. So
yeah, I fast forwarded in a little bit. Let's see if we can hear the meat of this.
Yeah, turn it up a little bit, although you can't mistake it.
Here we go.
And I'll send you that part of the audio. Mm-hmm. No, brother.
That was very, very nice.
Well, thank you.
Very, very nice. You should feel good about that.
Oh, wow. He turned the truck off and he just started it up again.
What?
The guy next door, he turned his truck off. It was off for a minute, and now he just started it up again. There he goes.
I'm sorry.
I'll send you the tape.
Brilliant.
Oh, I heard that, and I'm looking at it on the spectrograph. It's like this little orange mountain at the bottom. It's obviously a 4x4 with a Hemi in it. It's like, folks, again, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. If you got a lot of noise outside your house, you live where you choose to live, but you got to be able to isolate yourself. And he's like, what do I do? Now, this is a house down in Florida, so there's like no insulation. He's describing this house as having like, it's clapboard 2x4s and crappy drywall. So it was probably built during the land rush in the late 50s in Florida, and it's like it's like doing voiceover in through tissue paper, and you can hear everything in there. So we're gonna design something that will not be expensive for him, but will filter out his neighbors. So if any of you have anything like that, we want to hear from you. We want to hear all this bad audio because we want to make all your audio good audio.
Yeah,
make
exactly.
It sound sweet. Also, speaking of sweet, more plugs here. We still have the East West Audio Body Shop.
Yes, we do.
It's a little late to get stuff for Christmas, but for a good New Year's gift, or for Martin Luther King's birthday, or for Valentine's Day, you can go over to the East West Audio Body Shop. And what's the address for that, Jorge?
It is it is shop.ewabs.com.
Shop.ewabs.com.
Yeah.
You can get the sweatshirts, the hats, the mugs. You saw how cute Ella looked with that. I wear my sweat. I gave 2 sweatshirts to my in-laws down in Florida, who are always wearing sweatshirts, and now I'm proudly walking along the golf course in Boca Raton or wherever they are down in West Palm. So, great gifts. And I know a lot of you have been down there, so make sure you go down to the East West Audio Body Shop. And I think that's going to pretty much do it for 2011 there, George.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for everybody in the chat room. I want to thank the audience who
you guys
really is loyal. I mean, we always look to see how many people are viewing the show on the Ustream. It tells us, how many people are watching, just like you guys see. We always have at least 20 viewers at all. I mean, without fail, we've had at least 20 viewers for every single show.
Yep.
And sometimes that reaches over 30. And you guys are the diehards that are here every week live. You're in the chat room, having fun. and you're there adding a lot to the show tonight. I didn't get to watch the chat room as closely as I usually do, but we love having you there. You guys make this so much more fun for us, and this is the interactive part of it. And we just want to thank you guys. Thank you for being loyal viewers, listeners, and just making this show continue. I mean, we did this for ourselves, when we started. And now it's obvious we do it for a community, and we couldn't imagine stopping because it's just, we've built this thing and it just keeps on going. So we want to thank you guys again. Have a wonderful holiday with your family and just let's make 2012, even better.
Yes, we've got lots of great plans. Again, if there's any guests you'd like to hear on the show or see on the show, not only they can see them, which is see we got better at that too.
Yeah, we're going to do more of that too. I think we'll maybe once a month, or we'll figure out a way to wrap the Google Plus Hangouts thing into the show more often, because it really actually worked pretty well.
Right, especially with the mustaches.
Yeah, especially. I hope they
I
keep
wasn't
the
here. I thought that was very cute, George.
Thank you.
That was brilliant.
That was that was totally spontaneous. I started the Hangouts and there was a button there for mustache. I just couldn't believe it. It was not there before. Maybe it was a Movember thing. Remember that?
Movember,
yeah, it might have been a Movember promotion. So I hope they keep it though, because what was amazing was how well that worked. Can you imagine that somebody at Google is getting paid a really good salary to figure out how to figure out how to glue a mustache to people's faces?
And
yeah, this thing has to basically, it's looking at your eyes and your mouth. It's figuring out basically where all your pieces are on your face, and then going, well, the mustache must go somewhere around here. And like when Diane Merritt had her daughter pop in and say hello, the mustache jumped off of Diane's face and jumped up on her daughter's face, hung out there, and then she left, it jumped right back on the Diane's. I mean, it was hilarious. It was like the thing was alive. It was really funny.
I watched the replay of that. I fell on the floor going, okay, that's cute.
Oh, it was hilarious.
We're going to be able to do more stuff like that. We want to get you guys involved. I think we need to start taking some listener calls again. People having problems with we started off with that, but people just seem to want to hear us talk.
Yeah, well, maybe we've answered everything already. So that's the thing, is our live viewers are the smartest people in the voiceover industry when it comes to tech now, because they've absorbed all of our knowledge for 32 episodes.
That's right.
So we're going to look for try to get some new viewers in. Maybe we'll start a mailing list. We'll reach out further. Tell your friends too. And thanks also to the kind words about Ella. She is the apple of my eye, as you can imagine. And we look forward to starting her in a voiceover career. So we'll be looking for all the things that go into that. But she's getting pretty good at line reading or being fed lines. So I think
that's my whole family involved.
Why not?
I mean, they're all great actors.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen them all on the show here. We get them on fairly regularly. You know how good Jake can be. So anyway, everybody, happy holidays to you. Specifically, happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
That starts on Wednesday night, and we're actually going to be in Southern California for Hanukkah, and I have to talk to you about this. We got to rent bikes. We're going to go down the little menorah down in front of the Santa Monica Pier and say we are spending Hanukkah in Santa Monica.
I love it. Maybe I should leave a key for you.
Maybe that's a good idea. I think I need your parking pass more than anything else.
Yeah, actually, good point.
But we'll talk about that. And also, and Merry Christmas is coming up this week. You guys are the greatest. All of you who have sent us cards. I'm the worst at sending cards.
No.
Accept this as my humblest feelings of gratitude and thanks and love to all of you that have sent me cards and the mustache stuff too. I like that too. And I'd like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. You all know who you are, and a very Happy New Year. And we will see you. We're going to be back, January 7th?
I think that's the next show, or is it the 8th? Here we are. So the January 1st is a Sunday.
So it'll be January 8th.
So, yeah, it's January 8th. That's going to be our next live show. We're going to come up with some stuff. Maybe we'll bring up a best of episode for New Year's Day. Christmas Day, I think will just be, we'll have radio silence that day. So
or put up the Yule log.
Yeah,
like
maybe we'll put up the Yule log
in Parsippany, New Jersey.
There you go, the EWABS Yule log.
Yes, it'll just be our logo burning.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, I'm going to figure that out. There's a way to do that.
Okay. All righty, folks.
Take care.
Have yourself a great holiday season, and we will see you in 2012.
See you then, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye. Take care.